My twin brother died when we were 16. 10 years later, I discovered our parents had been secretly tracking his phone pert, which I now owned. I was using my parents' laptop to print some documents when a notification appeared on screen. Tyler's phone is at Main Street Cully shop. Tyler, my identical twin, had died in a car accident 10 years earlier when we were 16. For a moment, I thought I was hallucinating. Then I realized they were tracking my phone. Believing it was still his after Tyler died, our parents gave me his phone. Mine had been damaged that week, and in the chaos of grief, this practical solution made sense. I transferred my number to his device and have used it ever since, upgrading over the years. But keeping the same account, I never thought about what digital breadcrumbs might have followed. Clicking the notification opened a tracking app showing a detailed map of my movements for the past 8 years. Every place I'd been since college. My apartment, workplace, friends' homes, dates, doctor appointments, parent, all labeled as Tyler. The data was meticulously organized by month and year. My hands shook as I scrolled through this digital shrine. There were notes attached to certain locations. Tyler visited the art museum today. Parent, he always loved art. And Tyra seems to be dating someone new. Parent, third coffee shop meeting this week. I felt violated, confused, and heartbroken all at once. For years, my parents had been living in an alternate reality where their dead son was experiencing the life I was living. When I confronted them that evening, my father collapsed into tears immediately. My mother defended their actions. Immediately, my mother defended their actions. They admitted they'd started tracking his phone before the accident. Parent, typical concerned parents of teenagers. After he died, they couldn't bring themselves to disable it. When Tyler's phone became active again when I started using it, they convinced themselves it was a sign to keep watching over him. What began as grief-stricken denial evolved into an elaborate fantasy. They'd created stories about Tyler's college experience, his career choices, even his dating life. Parent, all based on tracking data from my movements. They'd never sought grief counseling, instead retreating into this digital ghost chasing. My father admitted, sometimes forgetting it wasn't actually Tyler living this life. When we saw you were at the beach last summer, we talked about how Tyler always loved the ocean, he whispered. The revelation explained so much. Parent, my mother's strange comments about places I'd visited that I'd never mentioned to them. My father asking about that coffee shop on 3rd Street when I'd never told him I went there that night. I deleted the tracking app from their devices in my phone. Then I helped them find a therapist specializing in complicated grief. For the first time in a decade, we truly talked about Tyler Pert, the real Tyler, not the digital ghost they'd been following. 6 months into therapy, my parents finally visited Tyler's grave for the first time since the funeral. They brought photos of me, their living son, and placed them alongside his memorial portal, acknowledging both the life that ended and the one that continued. Last week, my mother handed me a small box. From Clyde was a new phone paired, my first device that had never been Tyler's. It's time for us all to move forward, she said quietly. Sometimes grief creates ghosts, not of the people we've lost, but of the futures they never had, and sometimes healing means letting go of both.